Hi, and welcome to my OMG Caregiver family. I'm Tessie Gilbert, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I'm doing a live, my first live with no one on, and that's okay because no one knew I was going to do it. I didn't even know I was going to do it, but I want to make sure that I'm being consistent with everything that's going on. I feel like you guys deserve consistency. So here goes nothing. Um, I am wanting to dedicate the month of April to aging forward. And it's a talk that we're going to be doing on aging forward. So, why am I doing this talk on aging forward? One, I gave you a little bit of my background before, but let me do it again. Um, One of the things that I do is I do speak with families on a daily basis about placement, insurance, medical care, personal care, assisted livings, you name it. We talk about it. And one of the things that is a common and consistent message that I'm getting is they don't have the right information if they have any at all, which is super concerning. So, one of the things that I want to make sure that I'm doing is dedicating time to explaining these various components about how to age forward gracefully, not in a rush, and aging forward with all of the resources that you need in order to make sure that your parents have what they need. And then when you get there, you'll be so educated and well versed in what you did to help your parents that you'll be ready for yourself. And sometimes while we're even preparing for our parents, we prepare for ourselves at the same time. While I don't have parents that are still living, um, I am a parent and I am preparing for my own aging future. So, conversations to have with family, conversations to have with your children, things of that nature, that has to happen. You know, in a lot of communities, including my own, people typically do not want to have conversations about death, wills, insurance, quality of life. When things get to a point where quality of life is a factor, then what am I doing? What are we in agreement with what happens to mom? Are we, does mom have a DNR? What is a DNR? How do I get one? All of these things that you need in order to ensure that your parents are not only aging properly and in the best environment with all of the resources that they need, but they're doing it without worry. Because let's face it, you watch TV. I really don't watch TV, but I watch TV. But I look at it enough to know things are not going um, the way that I kind of anticipated them going. They're taking a different turn, and I'm pretty sure many of you feel the same way. So, what happens when things start taking a different turn? We pivot, right? So that is going to be a word that you frequently hear me say is pivot. And that's what we have to do when things start taking a turn and it's out of our control. When things become out of your control, you can allow it to like stress you out, um, put you in a different headspace, or you pivot. So that is what we're going to be doing. So today's topic that we are discussing plan. Why are they important? What age do you get them? Who needs them? Why do you need them? All the questions. So, some of you may have heard of long term care policies before. So Mutual of Omaha is probably the most popular. It's the one that I see quite frequently. Golden Care. I'm just gonna, and my attention is between a few screens, so bear with me because I have my screen over here. Um, there are there's always like a good, better, best with these things, right? So you have your good plan, you have your better plan, and then you have your best plan. It's Nationwide, Mass Mutual, NGL, One American, and then I started off with Mutual of Omaha. That's one of the better ones. Okay. Um, so long-term care insurance, adults become eligible at 50, right? You can get a policy starting at age 50. And this is to, again, prepare for your future. And it's not just your future, like your parents. If your parents are 80s, it's too late. They're not going to be able to get a policy. No one's going to give them a policy. And if they say they will, it's probably not the truth. So beware of that. Okay. There is an expiration on the age part where you become too, your age will restrict you from getting a policy. Just like if you were, with anything else where age is a factor, it is a factor with the long-term care insurance. Most of the insurances, they all say the same thing. It's appropriate for, excuse my phone, it's appropriate for people between 50 and 72. They all offer different things. So it's kind of like you have to know what it is you're wanting or what you're planning for. If your parents are going to have, and we're going to talk baby boomers now, if they have Medicare, or they're rolling into an age where they're going to be eligible for Medicare, which is at 65, then having Medicare coupled with a long-term care insurance is great. However, if your parents don't currently have a long-term care insurance, I'm not 100% sure that they'll be able to get one by the time they turn 65. Again, it's one of those things that kind of be done prior to them turning 65, right? So if they have a long-term care insurance policy, what can you do with it? What can you use it for? So let's just go over in an assisted living. You can pay in-home modifications such as like wheelchair ramps, nurses or services assisting with day-to-day activities. Let's say you don't want to put your parent in a home, and you want to keep your parent in the home, but you can't take care of them, then their long-term care insurance will pay for in-home related care, like a nurse or a personal caregiver. Okay. So one of the things that I think is important to keep in mind is when your parents are looking into their policy and what they have versus what they need. One of the things that I like to always tell the kids is familiarize yourself with the things that your parents have now. Talk to your parents and ask them, Mom, Dad, like, what do you have in place? Because sometimes they bought into things that they really don't know or remember, or like long-term care insurance policies. I discovered with the family the other day that they actually did have a policy. The dad kind of remembered doing something a while back, like in his 50s, and he's like, I've been paying for something. Turns out he had Mutual of Omaha. Well, that came in handy. He needs care. Some of the policies, and don't quote me, you would have to see what the coverage is. They will pay up to $100 a day for a stay in an assisted living environment, an independent living environment. That's super important because if your parents already are getting Social Security, they have some sort of a pension, and now you take into the fact that they have a long-term care insurance policy that pays $100 a day, you do the math, that comes in handy. Because if you want to put your parents in a place that you feel like they would be comfortable in, like Optimum, okay, there's my plug for Optimum Assisted Living and Memory Care, $46.55 for a semi-private room in our Missouri City location and $4,900 at our Sugar Land locations. This is in Houston, Texas, in the great state of Texas, okay? Great city or greater Houston region, okay? I invite you to come out and check us out. I did upload a video of our home, of our property, so check it out. Email me if you have questions. There's my little plug for our home, okay? Our very home-like environment, which you could afford with the long-term care insurance plus anything else that they have that can be coupled with it, okay? That's honestly like the gist of a long-term care insurance policy. They all have different price points. So it honestly depends on, especially if you have to start taking over the payments for your parents. It just honestly depends on what the price points are. You can get them fairly cheap if you get them at 50-ish, and just make sure you keep up with it. I'm going to be getting it. I talked to my sisters last. By the time we turn 65, let's be honest, we might not have a Medicare or a Medicaid or Social Security to pull from. Having this, a long-term care policy, can save our lives. And it can come in handy for, like I said, an in-home caregiver, an in-home nurse, an assisted living if I wanted to go and chase some cuties around, something like that. But it comes in handy when the resources that we think are going to be there probably won't be there for us. And that's just being honest, right? We're going to talk about, like I said, the whole month of April is going to be dedicated to aging forward. We want to make sure we're doing it not only gracefully, but peacefully. No one wants to be nerved up, scared, confused, all of the things when it's time to make a decision for your parents. You want to be armed with the correct information. You want to have those resources, and you want to be able to make a decision right then and there, or at least know who to call. Trust me, comes in handy. Okay. So I'm happy to be back with you guys. Super, super excited to be back. All month long, we're aging forward. We're talking resources, where to go. In terms of recommendations of long-term care insurance policies, you have to get what's within your budget. I would do the research behind all, because there's quite a few, right? I named 10, which are coupled into the category of best. But with everything that you're looking into, there's always going to be like good, better, best. Okay. So good, better, best. Mutual of Omaha, kind of cream of the crop, like right there. I don't work for them. They don't pay me anything. The experience is what's driving me to make that assessment. That's the only reason why I'm pumping them up. It's because I've seen so many families that have Mutual of Omaha or even an AARP. And again, it just comes in handy. While AARP is a long-term care insurance, comes in handy because it acts as kind of like a subsidy to an insurance plan. So if your parents are in a rehab and they have traditional Medicare, Medicare has the 80-20 rule, right? Where they pay 20% at 100%. And on the 21st day, there is a copay that's due. If you have AARP, what ends up happening is AARP covers the copay for the rest of the 100 days. So it covers, the therapy for however much longer they're going to be getting. Normal copays for something like that is like 220, between 200 and 250 a day. AARP picks up the cost. So that's when that particular coverage makes a difference. Okay. So if you have questions, reach out to me at tbaldwin at developme10x.com. Happy to answer a question. You guys can leave a comment. Don't roll on me too bad. I know I have a lazy eye, which half the reason I've turned this way has to do with my information that's over to my right. And the other half is, this is my better side. And it doesn't really show my lazy side. So anyway, enough of that. I am super excited to be back with you guys. I hope you can appreciate my humor, because life is not all serious. Sometimes we have to laugh at ourselves, which I do a lot, and just have fun. This is meant to be serious, but it's also meant to bring a little bit of comedic relief. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. So anyways, have a great Tuesday. You guys, send me your questions. I appreciate them. I love it. Love it, getting those questions. I'm going to have a lot of resources for you this month. Remember, we are aging forward, gracefully, peacefully. Peace.